Chairperson of the Iebc, Mr. Erastus Edum Ethicon, EEE. Okay, thank you. Okay, take your seat, nominee, and we welcome you to this session. This is a very important session we have this morning. The vetting of IEBC commissioners, proposed IEBC commissioners, including the chairperson who is before us. It's a very important exercise because the country has been without an IEBC for quite some time now. And this has caused a lot of anxiety in the country, as a result of which every available time and space must now be taken to constitute the IEBC. We have a number of by-elections that are pending, including constituencies and wards, and it is the high time actually these ones got filled up. So today, the whole day, will be engaged in this exercise to vet the persons who are supposed to sit in IEBC. Vetting is not an examination. It is purely to ascertain the process by which the nominees were appointed was a proper, transparent, credible, and fair process in accordance with the Constitution and the law, and also to confirm whether the nominated person is orders again with the Constitution's chapter 6 and other laws. And then after that, we make our report approving or disapproving to the National Assembly, which makes a final determination. So thank you so much, Honorable Members of Parliament. This is the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. The Members of Parliament are here. The Secretariat is to my left. I have with me the Director of Legal Affairs with us here. And to my right, on behalf of the Vice Chair, who is Honorable Mwengi Mutuse, is on his way coming. But we have to ensure the seat is occupied, it's not vacant. And a ranking member of the National Assembly. He has done many years in that house. Also a ranking member of AJAABU is now taking the seat. He'll introduce himself when we do it. So let's do the introduction very quickly. My name is George Gitonga Murugara. I think we start with prayer first, then we go to introduction. So let us pray. Almighty God, in your wisdom and goodness, have appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people. We beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our church. Amen. So, introduction, George Gitonga Murugara, Member of Parliament for Tharaka Constituency in Tharaka Nithi County. I also chair the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly. Thank you.
Farah Malim, MP for the DAB, a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Thank you.
Zulekha Harun, nominated member and a member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
My name is Michael Mushera, MP Orojoro Rock, member of this committee.
Adam Dawood, Wajir East. John Makali, Member of Parliament for Kandui Constituency, Bungoma County, a member of this committee.
My name is Mushangi Karemba, Member of Parliament for Runyenjes Constituency in Embu County and a member of this committee.
Otiende Amolo, Member for Ariada.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Stephen Mogaka, elected by West Mugirango constituency and a member of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Good. Thank you, Secretariat, led by Director.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. My name is Peter Chamweno. I'm Director, Departmental Committees. And on my left are members of the Secretariat for the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Thank you, Chair.
Good. Yeah. Thank you very much. I think that's sufficient for now. We have a nominee in front of us. I presume, and he will confirm, that this is Mr. Erastus Edung Ethicon, nominated to be the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Am I right?
You are right, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. We therefore welcome you, Mr. Ethicon, to this committee for the vetting session that will last roughly an hour. We will begin the usual process, the way it's supposed to be done. You take an oath. After taking an oath, you will hand over your original documents to the Secretariat for verification. You will then introduce yourself. After introduction, we give you a maximum of 10 minutes to walk us through your journey of life. Where you were born, where you went to school, who you are in your career, how you've been nominated, and after that, the members will then field questions. So we may administer the oath to the nominee.
I, Erastus Edung, Ethicon, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you. Thank you, nominee.
Point of order, we need to know why the nominee is not swearing by the Bible. I know you can affirm, but you must state why.
You are Christian?
Sorry, Chair, I had not actually seen the Bible. It was not brought to me.
All right.
I am a Christian.
Let him retake.
I am a Christian.
Let him retake the oath. I actually thought he elected to affirm, which is good enough, but you may retake the oath with the Bible as by your faith.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. I, Erastus Edung Ethicon, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matter under its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much, nominee. You may now sign your oath of swearing. Very good. Nominee, you may now hand over the original documents to the Secretariat for verification, all of them including your ID card, academic certificates, testimonials, and any other relevant document you have. Thank you. Nominee, it is your turn to introduce yourself to us, and in less than 10 minutes, take us through your journey of life, including your academics and your presence today.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and honorable members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of our Honorable Parliament. Honorable Chair, it is really my pleasure to appear before this honorable committee to present myself and to have a conversation with you on behalf of the people of Kenya, so that this committee will understand me as an individual and me as the nominee, and what makes me suitable to be confirmed as the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Committee. Honorable Chair and members, my names are Erastus Edung Lokale Ethekon. I am from Turkana County. I am aged 49 years, having been born in 1976. I am a family person, married with 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and 1 boy. And currently, I live both in Nairobi and Johannesburg in South Africa. In terms of my professions, Honorable Chair, I wish to inform this committee that I am a lawyer by training and an advocate of the High Court of Kenya of more than 22 years, having been admitted to the bar by the Honorable Chief Justice Evans Gisheru way back in 2003, precisely 12th June 2003. As a lawyer, I like to describe myself as a human rights lawyer. That's the basis of my career, and a governance expert. I also, Honorable Chair, wear another hat as in terms of my profession, because I'm not only a lawyer. I did diversify my career and ventured into the field of conflict resolution and peace building. That includes the whole disciplines of ADR and of course peace studies and peace research. Lastly, in terms of how I describe myself as a professional, I also wear another hat, that of a programs management specialist, specializing in international development cooperation, having also worked in that field for quite some time, for more than 15 years. And Honorable Chair, in terms of all this, what I've described as my professions, I have academic qualifications to back it up. As a lawyer, I have a master's degree in law, specializing in oil, gas, and energy law, having obtained this qualification from the University of Derby in the UK in the year 2016. I also have a Bachelor's of Law degree, second class honors, upper division, which I obtained way back in 2001 from the University of Nairobi here in our country. As you all know, University of Nairobi is one of our premier and prestigious institutions. Having completed my Bachelor of Laws studies at the University of Nairobi, I proceeded, as just like most lawyers would do, to the Kenya School of Law, where I obtained a postgraduate diploma in law. And after that, that is when I met the requirements for the Council for Legal Education, and I was admitted now to the bar subsequently in 2003, as I've said. In terms of specializing in international human rights law, I have a specialization, a certificate in implementation of international human rights treaties, which qualifications I obtained from the University of Nottingham in the UK in the year 2007, under the prestigious Chevening Fellowship Program by the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office in 2007. Honorable Chair, my academic journey did not just stop with law. As I've mentioned, I tried to diversify, and in that respect I have additional 2 qualifications: a Master of Arts in Peace, Conflict and Development Studies from the University of King James I in Spain. They call it Universidad Jaume, which qualifications I obtained in 2012. And then later, in the course of my career with the United Nations, it was necessary for me to also understand the discipline and the practical field of international project management. I followed that with an academic qualification at the University of Liverpool, where I obtained a Master of Science degree in projects management, specializing in development cooperation projects. That's my academic journey level, qualifications at that higher level. But perhaps most important for this committee is for me to reflect back where I started. From the dry, dusty village of Morulem, where I started my primary school under Acacia Tree, where I schooled in class 1 up to class 4 under Acacia Tree, because we did not have classrooms. That did not deter me to score an A- in the KCSE of 1991, and that qualifications removed me from the hardships of Turkana and brought me to Nairobi, where I joined the Starehe Boys Center and School. And it's at Starehe Boys Center and School that my life changed and took a different trajectory. At Starehe, we were taught to serve. We were helped and guided and prepared to serve our fellow countrymen. And it's with that spirit, Mr. Chair, sorry I'm a bit emotional, but it's within that spirit that I have focused my life on public service and giving back to the community and to my country. That we were taught that at some point, this generation of ours will have to bear the weight of government in our shoulders. And in doing that, we must be guided by justice, zeal, and care. So, Honorable Chair and members, that is the bit about my academic journey and a description of my profession. Allow me, Chair, then, to just outline to you very briefly my work experience and the institutions where I've worked before having obtained these academic qualifications.
In 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes. Honorable Chair and members, I have had the rare privilege to work in this honorable house as a clerk assistant trainee and research associate between 2002 to 2003, where I worked with the departmental committees before I proceeded for my further studies. I have worked in 2 law firms, and subsequently I registered also my law firm in 2013. Having done that, I also proceeded to work with the National Commission on Human Rights, which is one of those commissions provided for in the Constitution, as a senior human rights officer. And I think that's when I launched my human rights career as a lawyer. So after that, I proceeded to spend most of the time within the United Nations, close to 13 years, where I served in various capacities within the institution. And in the United Nations, I would like to bring to your attention, honorable members, our role in the United Nations Development Program is to work with national institutions. And it's through that I interacted closely with our work on electoral management. And when I finished my tour of duty with the United Nations, I decided, for obvious reasons, to go back to Turkana and give back to my county. At the advent of devolution, most of the counties were going through teething problems. And one of them that I identified was the lack of qualified legal practitioners in far-flung places like Turkana. And it's within that context that I went back and I joined the county public service as the first Turkana county attorney, established the office, led that office, built its capacity. But besides focusing in Turkana, Honorable Chair and members, my influence and my mentorship and leadership also reached far across other counties such as Marsabit, Samburu, Isiolo, Mandera, and many others, where I helped our young county attorneys in terms of mentoring them and helping them to set up those very important legal offices. When I finished my 6 years tour of duty in Turkana, I left last year, September, to pursue a career in back in international development, and luckily I got a place with the African Union Development Agency under the NEPAD framework, where I'm currently working as a senior advisor to the CEO and an expert on the nexus between governance, peace, security, and development. And we're working to develop a continental-wide program to support our regional economic communities and member states, including Kenya. I thank you, Honorable Chair and members.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ethekon. Honorable members will now ask you questions, and I request that you be provided with a booklet and a pen. You will note down those questions. We are not very many. We'll do a complete lap. If there's any rejoinder, we will give you sufficient time, and members, to ask supplementary questions. Each member is going to ask one question. Apart from the chairman, who is not restricted, he may ask quite a bit of the questions. So I think we start off. Please note, number one, you have been nominated to chair the IEBC. What would you tell Kenyans is your experience with the electoral process that warrants some confidence in you to actually ensure that Kenyan elections are free, fair, verifiable, and credible, which are the parameters of a successful election in each given year? Number two, it has been said out there that your nomination is flawed simply because there were no adequate consultations as regards who should become the chairperson of the IEBC. What are your views as regards your nomination and the process itself as a qualified and seasoned lawyer in this country? Finally, it has been said that IEBC must be watchful. You've already been warned even before you took office that if you try to deliver any elections in the country that are not fair, credible, verifiable, the country may drift into bloodshed. Tell Kenyans, in your own estimation and preparedness, are you credible enough to give Kenyans an election that they will have confidence in? Thank you. Honorable Farah is next.
I notice your journey, and only people who have gone through what you have gone through know how difficult that journey is. Those of us who come from arid areas, we know these things, and a few of us here. One of the biggest problems in this country in any electoral process was the fear of a bias on the part of the chair of this organization, or manipulation of results. And you know very well, as I know myself, elections, particularly in the far-flung areas, used to be manipulated very much by people who are in power. Areas like the north where you come from. And I'm sure you understand that very well. At the national level, also the fear is that it might be manipulated. We have seen it manipulated. I'm not going to state which elections were manipulated, but there are a good number of general elections that were manipulated. What this job needs more than anything else is a very courageous person who doesn't mind and doesn't have any allegiance except to God, his creator, and to the country itself. Having been a Turkana Moran, that is in your blood. How much of that are you going to implement against all odds?
Thank you. Honorable Otiende Abono.
Mr. Erastus Edung Ethekon, and this is not a question, but I'm curious, you will comment on it. In your document, you indicate you speak both the Luo and Spanish. I'm curious to know about that, but now let me come to the question. You know, we have received an objection to your nomination, specifically from Dr. Gikenyi and two others. And the objection is that they perceive that you'd be biased in favor of the current president by virtue of the fact that you have an association with the former governor of Turkana. I want you to talk to us about this so that you disabuse us of that matter. But secondly, you've indicated that you're based in Johannesburg, which I think I understand in terms of being an employee of NEPAD. But you need to now persuade us in terms of Section 6. As a chairperson, you must be a person who's qualified to be a judge of the Supreme Court, which means that you must be qualified under Article 166(3) of the Constitution, having at least 15 years experience as a Superior Court judge or 15 years experience as a distinguished academic or judicial officer or legal practitioner. I need you to indicate to us where we would base your 15 years of experience. Are you a legal practitioner? Are you an academician? Or where do we base that on? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Honorable Karemba Muchangi Runyenjes.
Thank you, Chair. And I think mine is very similar to what the Honorable Senior Counsel Otiende has stated. My question is on the petition, or rather the memorandum that has been brought to us by one Gikenyi, Dr. Gikenyi, who clearly wants to portray the nominee as a person very close to the former Turkana governor, Josephat Nanok, and who also works very closely to the president. I would want to ask Honorable Chair whether the nominee will have the courage to lead Iebc with the impartiality that is needed, and whether he is patriotic enough to understand that the country expects a free and fair election.
Very much. Honorable Makali, Member of Parliament for Kandoi.
Thank you.
We are on the throes of another election in 2027. You, I think, know what happened to your predecessors, Kibuitu, Chesoni, Chebukati. What are the experiences which you have learned from those past elections, which put you in a good state to lead this particular commission so that we can have a free and
elections? How are you going to help this country, given our economic issues that we have now, to reduce the cost of elections to something manageable? And finally, Chair, I just want to ask one question. I think the Senior Counsel has alluded to it about suitability. It says that for one to be the chair of Iebc, you need at least 15 years. You need to have the qualification of a judge of the Supreme Court. I'm assuming that you will fall under 166. You'll tell me if that is different. 166, Article 166 3B, which says at least 15 years experience as a distinguished academic, judicial officer or legal practitioner. You have given us your 22 years of experience, but I want to see that distinguished part. Distinguished legal scholar or distinguished academician. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Farah Mohammed Malim already asked his question. He's from Dadaab. Next is Honorable Mushira. Michael Mushira is from Ojorok.
Thank you, Chairman. I have only one question. From the statistics, out of the total registered voters we had in 2022, approximately 8 million did not turn out to vote out of the registered voters we had. And then number two, out of the eligible, the people who are of legal voting age as at 2022, approximately 5.7 did not register as voters. I would want to know if you are approved by the House, what measures you would take to ensure that, number one, out of the numbers that is supposed to register, we achieve at least 98%. And then number two, out of the number that is eligible to vote, I know here maybe you may not have much control, we achieve at least 98% in terms of voter turnout. Thank you, Chair.
Very good. Honorable Zulekha, who is nominated.
Thank you, Chair. Before my question, I was just questioning net worth of the nominee. Okay. Mr. Ethical, considering the recent past history of the Iebc, I wanted to know how you're going to regain the public trust. What specific reforms are you going to initiate once you are confirmed as the chairman of the institution? And what are some of the innovations in terms of technology, electoral credibility, transparency, are you going to champion as the chairman of the institution? Thank you.
Right, Honorable Mogaka. Honorable Mogaka is from his constituency is
West Mugirango
constituency in Nyamira. I was about to say Nyamira West. Then I've remembered it's West Mugirango in Nyamira County. All right. Have you introduced yourself, sir? You have.
Yes, I
Thank
did.
you.
Yeah.
You may now choose your question.
Thank you, Chair. I have three small questions for the related for the nominee. And nominee, congratulations for this far you have come. But you told us about a lot of education you have acquired. Just tell Kenyans who financed this education and what interest did they have in you as a way of allaying fears that you are being trained to come and do this very thing that Kenyans are worried about. The second one is you described yourself as very rich in human rights training. Now, you are aware that electoral units in this country have been without representatives this far. Do you consider that a constitutional and human right violation for those electoral units? And if so, being an expert in human rights violation, what have you done so far to appease these unrepresented electoral units as Kenya does its business as usual? Number two, if you assume this office as chair, what would you bring in by way of reparation for these electoral units that have not been represented as Kenya has been transacting its affairs normally? And then the last question is, you are aware that there is already election campaign going on even before IEBC is constituted. Do you think this is healthy for the country? And if you assumed the office of chair, what will you bring on board that would bring tranquility in the country for economic prosperity, so that we don't go from election results and immediately we kick off to election campaigns? And for record, Chair, Nyamira County has 2 wards which have no MCAs, Nyamaya Ward and Nyansiongo Ward. Because as you are aware, I can't transact in this committee without mentioning Nyamira County.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mugaka. I think that is extremely patriotic. But you've rightly said there are 2 wards which do not have MCS, and that is the first and foremost assignment for the chairperson, nominated chairperson, if this committee finds favor to approve his nomination. The vice chairman has joined us as we were proceeding. He'll introduce himself and pose his question.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and my apologies to you, my colleague members, and everyone. I was held up in other national duties. That's why I walked in slightly after the session had started. My name is Mwengi Mutusa. I'm the Member of Parliament for Kibwezi West, and I also serve as Vice Chair of this committee. Nominee for Chairperson of IEBC, a very important position in the Republic of Kenya. I have 2 questions for you. Number one of what we have been told previously, that one of the reasons why our elections are very expensive, among the most expensive in the world, is because of trust deficit. The political operators, us in the political class, and even citizens do not trust each other. And so, because it is also alleged that you may be of a particular political inclination, assuming that this committee approves you and finally you become the IBC chair, what are you going to do to bridge that trust deficit so that we may begin to see Kenyans trusting the electoral process. You are aware, for example, in a country like the United States, the ballots will be sent online. They do not have to have 100 security features. People will vote. They will post them online. They will also post them through the post office, and they will be counted, and nobody will say there's a problem. But in our case, we can't even trust to print our ballot papers in our printing presses here. We have to take them to faraway countries. We have to send people to go and supervise printing, bring them here. One ballot paper has to have features. What is it that you are going to do, given the background that has been alleged about you, to bridge that trust deficit? And a practical question. Every other election, there has been contestations about rigging of elections, especially presidential elections. And majorly, that has been attributed to technology. People will say, well, we voted this way, but what was relayed to the National Tallying Center is different from what was on the ground. I have my views about it, but I would want you to tell Kenyans, do you believe that elections in Kenya are rigged? If you believe that they are rigged, what are you going to do to ensure that they are not rigged? If they are not rigged, why do you think they are not rigged? Finally, principally, you are trained as a lawyer, principally. I would want to know why it was important for you to study project management and peace and conflict, because as a lawyer, and many lawyers are very proud of their profession, many of them stick to legal issues. So one would be curious to just understand why you found it necessary to veer and study other professions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Thank you, honorable members. I counted that in spite of them having been told to ask for one, they did about 2, others did about 3, maximum at 20, all of them. We have 20 minutes within which to answer the 20 questions. So please be concise, precise. You do not have to repeat yourself, and where you can condense answers in respect of 3 questions into 1, please do so. 20 minutes to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and Honorable members of this committee. Allow me to really sincerely thank you for those very important questions, questions that are vexing to all of us and to Kenyans, and questions that beg answers from me as the chair nominee, but also to some extent answers from all of us as Kenyan citizens. In regard to the first set of questions from the Honorable Chair regarding what I bring to the table that will inspire confidence and ensure that Kenyans enjoy that right to elect their leaders in a free, fair, verifiable and credible elections. I think, Honorable Chair and members, these are questions that even I, since I was nominated as chair, have been asked by fellow citizens outside there. In fact, last night I was at a barber shop and the barber asked me Chair, do you think we will ever have free and fair elections in Africa? Not Kenya alone. But I knew, of course, where he was going. So to answer your question, Honorable Chair and members, I think I took this role knowing very well that there's a lot that is expected from us. There's a lot of issues that Kenyans are worried about. The issues, of course, of guaranteeing them free and fair election as per the Constitution. The issues of credibility, the issues of trust. And for me, I think if we address the issue of elections, we must, as Kenyans, begin by trusting in ourselves, because trust begins with us. When we trust ourselves, then we begin to look at what are the legal frameworks that are there to help us, for example, navigate through issues of governance in this country. That is when we begin to look at the Constitution and trust it. Does our Constitution serve us? Does it work? What does it say? The institutions that have been created by that Constitution to manage our elections, including our electoral management body, the Iebc, and others that are supposed to support that electoral management process. Do we trust in those institutions? Do we trust in the people that have been given the responsibility and the public trust to manage those institutions? Do we trust the laws that have been passed by this honorable house, by our parliament, and the regulations that govern the electoral processes? So when, honorable chair and members, when we as Kenyans begin to ask those questions, I think we'll be heading in the right direction, such that then those of us who are lucky, those of us who have come out courageously, and it must be really courageous, because when I applied for this job, I was told this is the hot seat, I don't even go there, we don't know whether to congratulate you or to, you know, all sorts of things. So those of us who have come out who have stepped out to provide leadership in our electoral management body and processes, we begin then to tell Kenyans, we will play our role as IEBC, I will play my role as chairperson, in the sense that I will be guided by the Constitution of Kenya and the laws of Kenya, and that through that fidelity to the law, I should be able to follow all the laid down processes that will lead us to credible, free, fair, verifiable elections. So my point is, Honorable Chair, is that we have to begin by trusting in ourselves. Number two, trusting that our Constitution works, that our laws governing our elections work and can be implemented, and that we will comply with these laws, and that then the institutions created to manage our elections are given an opportunity and that benefit of doubt to be able to work and to deliver results. Of course, there have been challenges in terms of sometimes negative perceptions. There have been, of course, challenges in terms of actual incidences of electoral malpractices. But even as we have those challenges, we still, as a country and as citizens of this country, have to seek refuge in our Constitution and in our laws, so that then even those who perpetuate electoral malpractices, we should deal with them knowing that there are laws that govern electoral offenses, and that these laws will be implemented, and those people who perpetuate electoral malpractices can be held to account. So for me, I will rely more on my faith and my trust in our Constitution and our laws and our institutions that we have set, that we the people have given unto ourselves under Article 1 of the Constitution, under which article the people have donated that power to us. Number two, in relation to my nomination, Honorable Chair, I wouldn't really want to dwell much on that, because, Honorable Chair, I think most Kenyans, from the day the advert was put out there, from the day the first advert was put and then it was cancelled to allow room for further consultations, and that resulted to the NADCO process and the outcome of the NADCO process and subsequent advertisement for this position and inviting those of us who are interested and who felt like we had something to offer. We were invited in an open process. We submitted our applications, and I recall very well, Honorable Chair, for the record. At first, I was reluctant even to apply for this job, given the negativity and all these things around this position. But at the cyber cafe where I normally photocopy my things and my papers, even for my work in South Africa, the young people in that cyber cafe, Peter, Purity, and Kizito, they are the people who urged me to put in my application, because looking at my documents and having conversations with me over tea, they thought and they felt that you have what it takes to lead this country in this institution. And at first I thought maybe I should just apply for the commission and, you know, the hot seat, leave it alone. But they actually went and submitted the documents both for the chair and for member. So when I was in South Africa, they sent me a screenshot, we've submitted the documents. And later on, when I was on my way to, I think, Angola or something, I saw my name in the newspapers that I've been shortlisted. I honored the...
So it is not you who applied?
I submitted the documents. I signed.
I think that's very important.
Yes.
Are you saying you did not submit your own application for this position?
Right. Kisito, the one who photocopies for me. So I bound everything, and I asked them to submit once everything was in order.
So they submitted the documents for you?
They just submitted the documents.
You had applied yourself, you had signed the documents, etc.
Yes.
So let's carry on.
Actually, I have a copy of my application.
No problem.
With the documents.
Okay.
So
let's move on to the process. Yes.
Actually, basically all these conspiracy theories around maybe being pushed around by certain interest groups to apply. I just wanted, for the record, for Kenyans to know that ordinary Kenyans are equally concerned, and they felt maybe they can add me to apply. So I went through interviews. They were televised. I gave my account for why I should be considered for this position, and I think the rest of the process proceeded as per the law that governs recommendation, nomination, and approval. And that's why I am here, Honorable Chair. So I would like to rest that matter at that point, and then to proceed to answer other questions, including the warning that 2027 might be a bloodshed if and when we as IEBC mess around with the people's votes. I think, Honorable Chair, this is a very uncomfortable discussion, but also very necessary, because those of us who have been in this country long enough, we know what we have gone through from 1992. At least that one I can recall. I'm sure most of you are there, maybe 1988, and participated in these processes. We've had a pattern where every election has had some incidences of violence. And of course, in 2007, we completely lapsed into a crisis of such big proportion and magnitude that a repeat of such scenario would not be something that we would wish for this country. So as IEBC, we will work very hard with other stakeholders, including the security agencies. We would work with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. We will work with partners in civil society, the media, to ensure that as we move towards this 2027, that we will put in place measures to prevent electoral-related violence. And Honorable Chair, during my tenure and my work at UNDP, most of the work that I did was around the recovery from the 2007 post-election and working with national government institutions, including the IEBC, for programs that ensured that we had the 2010 referendum that went peaceful, the 2012-2013 campaigns and subsequent elections went successfully. And there are those specific measures that we put in place that, given this opportunity, I'll be able to bring to the IEBC and to the nation, so that then we work on electoral violence prevention. We can have a robust program on that.
Just before you go on, Honorable Karemba, you had some rider to put to that very fast?
I am not satisfied by how you have settled the question that I asked, because I feel that he is now answering. You know,
It does not come to you as yet.
Oh, okay.
This is still the
Those are for three from me.
Okay.
Apart from, you've talked about putting into place systems to prevent post-election violence. Will you also put in place systems to prevent election malpractices? Because we start with the malpractices first, then we go to the violence, so that we actually ensure that we have a free, fair, credible, justifiable election, such that nobody can challenge it. And if there is to be a challenge, should it be through violence, or how do we challenge? Because every person has a right to challenge election results. With written violence, or how do we challenge when there is grievances regarding an election?
Okay, thank you.
Ogata, Raila? Okay.
Raila, yes, on that. One, he mentioned of having been pushed by even Babas to apply, as he fully disclosed who others pushed him to apply. Number two, he has again mentioned that he lives in Joburg. Can the nominee assure Kenyans that if he assumes this position, he will not banco an election and take his comfort in Joburg, because Kenyans have no other place to go? Thank you.
Chairman, mine is just as a point of order. Chairman, you know, you gave the nominee 20 minutes to answer. Only on your questions, we are now, I think we've taken 9 minutes.
Let's be faster. I'll make sure it's faster than that. First and foremost, quickly in one sentence each, defray the fears we have, then we move on to the questions substantive that were asked. They are not as elaborate as you're making it. Yeah, okay. You're just being a little bit prolonging. Okay. I don't want to use that other one we use in law. Let's just prolonging. Thank you. Can you be faster?
I think what I need to assure the committee and the nation at large is that once confirmed as chair, and I take that oath of office, the moment I take that oath of office, I will know I have crossed just from being a mere citizen, enjoying rights in this country, but I will immediately become a duty bearer as the chairperson of the IEBC. And as a duty bearer, it's my responsibility to ensure that this country has free, fair, transparent, credible, but more importantly, peaceful elections. And through that, I know, Chair, our election is highly regulated. From the constitutional provisions to the legislative provisions to regulations, there is an elaborate process through which we conduct our elections. And as the new chair and commission, we will ensure that internally we put our house in order. That if there are any challenges that the post-election evaluation report identifies, if there are any challenges that our partners and stakeholders, for example, through the political parties liaison committee, if there are those challenges that they identify, it's our responsibility as duty bearers to put in place measures to rectify those, so that then we perfect our system. Chair, also, in terms of those incidences of malpractices that sometimes make the system appear not to be working, I think Kenyans, I would ask us to trust that in this new IEBC, when we identify cases of malpractices, we should be able to punish those. We should be able to take action in terms of working with the relevant government institutions to investigate and bring those perpetrators to book. So, Chair, I think that is the much.
Will you run away to South Africa if you boggle the election and you leave us fighting one another?
Chair, this is my country and I love it very much. That is why I came back and that is why I want to continue serving it in this.
Why are you working in South Africa?
I'm working currently with African Union, which you know we are member state, and we're also doing things to actually, for example, the programs that we are doing is to support countries emerging from crisis and conflicts and that are going through governance transitions like Gabon and Mozambique and stuff like that. So it's equally important work.
You're managing South Africa itself, which seems to have its own peculiar problems with races.
Yes, of course, there are challenges of governance there as well. But for me, when if called upon to serve my country, this is my priority, and it will be my pride.
Thank you very much. In the remaining 10 minutes, please take the other questions very fast. They were precise.
It's a very important question.
Yeah, but for purposes of that the transparency of the electoral process itself, how much are you willing to spend or rather commit yourselves into technology? Because a country like India with 800 million voters, by 5:36 you already know the results. It's nothing, you can get that all over. You can buy those packages of that technology and it's the cheapest thing. When you compare it to the kind of cost we have in Kenya, but that way you can even be looking at the screen and seeing how well a party or an individual or a candidate is doing. How much are you willing to invest in that technology for purposes of that?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Farah. I think technology, our elections have come of age, from the Mulolongo to the secret ballot to the manual and now to the integration between manual and electronic. What we can do is to take it even higher, to look at what are the emerging technologies, to look at what is out there. So my role as the leader of that commission is to sit down with the experts to understand what is new. I've seen even some young Kenyans circulating some apps that they have come up with a system where you can do electronic election monitoring from your phone. So we need to bring all these actors together, our young, vibrant youth, the tech companies, and of course working under the guidance of this parliament to be able to see how can we up our game. What is new? How can we improve things from 2022 to 2027?
Question number 2.
Yes, it's a very important question, Honorable Chair, from my learned senior, Honorable Otiende Amolo, MP for Ariada, and I think, and Honorable Daud, regarding my suitability. I would like to, you know, when we finish law school, for those of us who went to law school, you finish your first degree. Normally, you can choose to go to the Kenya School of Law and to pursue a career.
Law school is which one?
To the Kenya School of Law.
Which is law school in Kenya? The School of Law or the university you go to?
Finish the university, you go to the Kenya School of Law under the Council for Legal Education. And then once you're admitted as an advocate, you can decide to go to court and be a practicing lawyer advocate in court, or you can decide to pursue your career in academics. And so for me, when I finished my law school and I got admitted, I'd worked already for 1 year in a law firm. And then I worked, as I mentioned to you, in Parliament. And part of our work, which I was responsible for, was to do research into policies and legislations from when Kenya became independent. So we compiled that, what you call parliamentary policy and legislative briefs. So that's work I did for roughly 2 years. After that, I worked at the National Commission on Human Rights, doing legal work. My work was legislative drafting, research, policy, and a very important role that I think maybe most people did not appreciate in this country was that my role was to look at legislative proposals and from the AG before they go to Parliament, my role was to infuse international human rights standards into our legislation. So I did that work for 3 years, and honorable members, when I proceeded to join the United Nations, the work of the United Nations, as I've said, is to serve and to work for national government institutions with them. And my specific role was also centered on providing leadership at the Kenya.
As a point of order, because the nominee is answering my question, I'd like the nominee, you have a copy of the Constitution, to open Article 166, 3B, so that please answer that question with reference to that section very shortly.
Justifying your great academic achievements.
Honorable Chair,
are you qualified to be the chairperson?
Yes, Honorable Chair, because I have spent over 15 years doing legal work, mainly in the field of human rights. And last year, Honorable Chair, for the record, I was actually shortlisted and I did interviews for the High Court judge, for which I was not successful, but that's when I continued.
The requirement is not spending 15 years doing some work. What exactly is the requirement? For you to be chairman, you must be? What does the law require you to be?
Article 166, 3B.
The first with what is your requirement
specific
after the constitutional provision where we have IEBC 88? The chairperson must be. After that, tell us whether you're qualified under the two provisions, 88 and 166.
Chair and members, I am qualified because I'm a legal practitioner in the field of human rights and human rights law, with specialization in international human rights.
Does 88 say a person qualifies to be chairperson if you're qualified to be a judge of the Supreme Court? I don't know, to be a judge of the Supreme Court. Correct?
Chair, he has Article 166.
Yes,
look at
so from there, go to Article 166, who is a judge of the Supreme Court, so that you can tie the two together and say, I'm qualified because Supreme Court, judge, Supreme Court requires. It's over.
Chair, I think in terms of Article 1663, it talks about at least 15 years experience as a Superior Court judge, which I have not been a Superior Court judge, at least 15 years experience as a distinguished academic, judicial, legal practitioner, or such experience in other relevant legal field. And I think that's where I fall to Honorable Chair.
That's where you fall. You don't, do you think, or you actually confirm?
I'm saying I confirm. That's where I fall.
Thank you. All right, let's move to the next. We have to move on. See,
which is that relevant field?
In the relevant field. Which is the relevant field now here?
International human rights law.
International human rights.
Yes.
All right. The field isn't, it doesn't have to apply, it's a relevant field, like I'm a litigation lawyer, that's the field I specialize in. Okay, let's move on to the next question from Karemba, quickly.
In terms of the question from the Honorable Karemba, he has raised the issues of my close relationship with Honorable Nanok, was our former governor. Honorable Karemba and honorable members of this committee, I've known Honorable Nanok when I worked with him as the county attorney for Turkana while he was serving as the governor. And I worked with him for 4 years, and our relationship was purely professional in serving the people of Turkana in our various capacities, him as governor and myself as the county attorney. And our relationship, a professional relationship, ended in 2022 after he left. And then I continued serving under Honorable Jeremiah Lomorkai, the current governor for Turkana, for another 2 years, bringing a total of my service in Turkana to 6 years, and I left. And Honorable Chair, with your permission, allow me to assure this committee that whatever the relationships, whether familial or friendship or people you've gone to school with, which I'm sure some of them are in this house. Some of my former bosses are also members of this parliament. Some are in the civil society. No man is an island. No person is an island. But what our constitution tells us is that IEBC is an independent commission. IEBC must not be under the control or direction of anybody whatsoever, any person or authority. And that if I, as a chairman, once you confirm me, if I misbehave in the process, the provisions of Article 251 will check in. Any member of the public, any citizen of this country can petition this house, this parliament, to remove me for any gross misconduct, violation of the constitution, incompetence, or any other reason that is within the law. So I don't think the nation should worry about the many relationships we've had as we grow along our career paths or in our lives.
Are you related to Honorable Josephat Nanok? Are you related in any way? For filial,
for the record, Honorable Chairman,
marriage, etc.
For the record, Honorable Chairman, not even close, even at the level of clan, let alone family. And we come from totally different villages, even clan-wise. If you look at it, we are very, very far apart. We have no any relationship, whether by marriage or extended family or anything like that.
Thank you very much. Honorable Makali's question.
Chairman, as is looking that, I had asked the very important question that the nominee must disabuse the allegation contained in Dr. Magenyi's affidavit that he would be biased in favor of His Excellency Dr. William Ruto.
Honorable Chair, with your permission, I have actually, Honorable Lanet Senior, I have actually sworn an affidavit to actually state my position in regard to that and to affirm that I shall be guided by the law, I shall be impartial, I shall be fair, and no office, whether small or big in this land, shall influence me, my decisions or my running of the commission, and that I shall rely on the constitution and the laws of Kenya. So therefore,
they're asking you whether you'll be courageous to announce results. That's what they're saying, that you will not be.
Chair, I look at both, even the president of the way I see things, as I've said, the moment I take oath of office, should I be confirmed, I look at both potential, all those people will come up to offer themselves for the leadership of this country at the level of presidency. These are my clients. These are the people I serve. These are the people that we will work with to ensure that whoever Kenyans elect, they should be able to trust the process and the outcome.
Chair, with your permission, Mr. Etekon, I want you to answer that question specifically. Will you be biased in favor of William Ruto or not?
Absolutely, Honorable Chair and members, absolutely not.
Just answer the way he has asked. I will not be.
I shall not be. Thank you.
Chair. He has indicated that he will not be influenced by him. You said you were a bit reluctant to apply for this position. You were influenced by Babas in some place. You are going photocopiers. Will you confirm to Kenyans that you have actually the spine to be in this office, which is a boiling room?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, through Honorable Chair. I think the context within which I brought that is to demonstrate to this House and Kenyans that ordinary Kenyans are concerned about the type of a person who should supervise the elections, who should facilitate their transparent, peaceful, credible, transparent elections. Which is why, looking at even the various people who are out there, they thought, I am untainted, I am qualified, and from our conversations, they felt I'm passionate enough to go for this position. And I would want to assure this House that those values that I bring and my commitment That is what I bring to this house, and no office.
And the spine?
The spine
is really the courage.
And as the Honorable Farah did indicate that we are warriors. You know, when you look at the journey, some of us have survived, you know, bandit attacks, even when coming to Nairobi for school. Our villages have been overrun. We've gone through these traumatic experiences. So I don't think there's anything that can cow me. Whether you hold a gun on my head, as long as I do the right thing, what the law says, I shall do it.
Thank you. That's a commitment you make it to us. The question by Honorable Dawood, is there anything remaining that is not answered? Honorable Makali's question. It was on. Let's move on.
That Honorable Makali's question was in regard to past experiences.
Yes. That is absolutely covered. What was the other one? Anything else, Makali? That is not answered? Cost of election, which is very expensive.
Honorable members, I think the issue of cost of election, I think Honorable Vice Chair actually spoke to it a bit and explained even some of those factors that drive our cost. But for me, I look at our cost of election as an issue of trust, as the Vice Chair put it. When we don't trust ourselves, when we don't trust our institutions, when we don't trust our printers, when we don't trust our everything, then we resort to those measures out of fear that we need to print ballot boxes in grays and what have you. So for me, we need to build this trust, starting from us as individuals. And this should cascade across our Kenyan citizens to begin to give ourselves a chance to do the right thing. And so that when we as a commission are giving practical proposals to lower the costs of our elections, then we should do it knowing that Kenyans will trust that what actions we have taken will still ensure free, credible, transparent, and peaceful elections. I will summarize that.
And if you bring black ballot boxes, black, you know, we insist they must be transparent. You say we trust you when you bring black ballot boxes.
Honorable Chair, I think the way...
In fact, before you go on it, the question is not the why, but the how. How? You know, all of us know there is a problem of trust and we want to bring it back. How?
Honorable Chair, I think the issue of trust sometimes comes as a result of many narratives. And when, as a new commission, we will confront those negative narratives and perceptions through a robust media and communication strategy. We should be able to engage with Kenyans, and we should be able to open the commission and our processes to scrutiny, so that then, along the way, where Kenyans point out where there are problems or issues, including where there are opportunities for electoral malpractices, including rigging and what have you, we should be able to address those issues and still assure the Kenyans that we are proceeding well. So trust is about educating one another. It's about reaffirming our values in our our beliefs in our laws, in our processes, so that then once we believe that, then we can, even if we say we will use the black ballot boxes, and as long as majority of Kenyans or all Kenyans trust that nothing will happen, or even if we go electronic and say we will do mail-in ballots, Kenyans still trust it's a process that they believe in. So it's about that belief.
Thank you. Honorable Dawood's question was on? No, on Farah. Honorable Dawood, your question was on? Is it answered?
One of them was answered.
Harmony, so that we don't have to speak.
In terms of, I think as a commission, the commissioners are 7 by law, with the chair as being the primus inter pares, the first among equals. And when we are brought on board, if everything goes well, the first thing I will do as a leader is to ensure that there's proper induction amongst this team, so that we all understand what our functions, what our roles, and and then build that teamwork together. So that is one first step in terms of creating harmony, because we come from different orientations. Maybe a few of us are lawyers. There's a way in which we behave. Others are from different backgrounds and professions. So we need to reconcile that and focus on one agenda. Number two, I think where disputes arise, which are bound because we're human beings, where disputes arise, we have to put in place internal mechanisms to resolve those disputes. And I think that's where my knowledge of, conflict resolution, mediation, negotiation come in. So I'll be able to play that role. And where perhaps the issues between us that will require maybe outside external interventions, we have even our interreligious leaders who can intervene and be able to resolve any disputes that are within us that are likely to affect our work.
Thank you. That is arbitration you've just talked about, or negotiation. Honorable Mushira's question was on what?
I think
it's done.
I will want to.
The turnout, yes. Why do we have poor turnouts ordinarily in Kenyan elections, and the registration which you're just about to back on?
I think to attack the reason why there could be that low registration and voter turnout, you can begin to see even in the last, compare the 2017 and 2022 elections, the turnout for 2017 was around 78. And then the subsequent election, we were looking at 64. So you see almost a 10 point. So I think we would need to, number one, address, of course, the issues of trust. Because the disillusionment of our young people particularly, when they don't see any value in participating in these processes, then we need to address that and to talk to our young people to come up and register and restore hope to them that it is a civic duty for them to undertake. Number two, after the commission, once the commission is not in place, then even registration of voters stops. So once we are confirmed, God willing, we will hit the ground running to try and speed up that process of registering voters. And there are many new voters now. The people who are born 2007, 2008, now they are reaching 18 years and they are quite a substantial number. So we need to focus on our voter registration. In terms of voter turnout, again, the messaging from all of us. Because as I've said, trust, confidence, it's a responsibility not only of the IEBC chair, but also of this parliament, the politicians who are aspiring, the media and all that. So if we do positive messaging, people will feel encouraged to turn up in large numbers. And if we assure them that the election will be free, fair, transparent, credible, then I'm 100% there will be big improvements. Thank you.
Thank you. We had a question from Honorable Zuleka. No. Let's go on. No. Let's go on. Zulaiha's question was on what, Zulaiha? The other one is coming shortly after this. We have to finish. The second question was on? Zulaiha? Can you remember? Yeah, the second question.
Yeah, that's...
use of technology.
Can I just on that, innovation and digital before the chair?
To answer for him, all right?
No. I just want to ask him, ask him something. I questioned about the issue of digital, the use of digital technology, or technology, for example, to make it easier for this thing to be, fair, transparent, credible. We also have the issue of digital, which can be misused, which is the social media right now. Social media can become another center of serious disruption and conflict in the country. You probably cannot answer this now, but one needs to put a serious thought into these things if we have to do certain things about our laws or certain actions to be taken, so that some busybody somewhere cannot put this country under flame. So this is another thing I think
to answer that very quickly, I think, Honorable Farah, you are referring to the issues we have to deal with misinformation and disinformation. And of course the use of new media to perpetuate that. I think that's one of the things that as a commission we will be alive to, and we will work with the various stakeholders and industry players to see how we can mitigate the negative impacts of that, while actually amplifying the positive aspects of that. And I think to go to Honorable Suleka's question about technology, I think the next election will largely be technology driven. Even if we don't adjust our laws to allow for final results in terms of our electronic transmission. But I think out there, in terms of mobilizing our young voters to vote, in terms of educating them on the voting processes, in terms of encouraging them to turn out, technology, for example, the chatbot and other apps will come into play. Instagram, TikTok, all these platforms. As a commission, or personally, in order to encourage our youth, we will work with the leaderships of the youth in this country to identify those opportunities in the digital space. Thank you.
Honorable Mogaka, is yours answered? Mogaka? We had a series of them.
The series of them.
I think they were all answered.
They have not been answered. I asked who funded his education and why.
Sorry, the first one was what?
Who funded his
who funded your education?
And why?
Very fast.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My education at Stare Boys Center was a free boarding space which was granted to needy boys by the late Dr. Geoffrey William Griffin. My education at the University of Nairobi was funded by the government of Kenya, for which I've paid the HELB loan, which I have the certificate here. My education in Master of Arts, Peace, Conflict and Development Studies was a scholarship place by the government of Valencia. My Master of Science in Projects Management was funded by UNDP. As part of capacity building.
Capacity building
and an education assistance program for staff, where you pay 50%, the organization pays 50%. No problem. Then the last one, I financed it myself through my salary.
Odinga and equipped. All right, the second question.
The second question was with his human rights experience, whether unrepresented units amount to a violation of human rights, what he has done with his knowledge in respect of those, and what he would do if he became chair.
You even mentioned about reparations.
Yes.
And we worried whether there is an answer to that one, but tell us very quickly. I don't think the answer is complicated.
Yes, I think it's very unfortunate that
with specific reference to Nyasiongo in Nyamira.
It's very unfortunate that our citizens of Nyasiongo in Nyamira have had to endure this unfortunate situation where they have had their representatives, and indeed there are many other constituencies and wards, and that is again, Chair, because there was no Iebc in place, and yet the law says the commissioners must be there to conduct these elections. And you can see, I don't know whether to explain it, but again, the issue of trust and the processes of establishing the Iebc and putting it in place so that it can run the calendar. Thank you.
All right, I think
about ongoing election campaigns.
Yes.
Is that
I don't know whether there is any ongoing election campaigns, or is sensitization, or it is people expressing their freedoms to associate, assemble, and everything. I don't know what your chairman is. Article 38 of our Constitution gives us our political freedoms, but also there are also those rights, including the rights of association, freedom of speech, and all that. So, I mean, and Kenya is such a vibrant society, and I thank God for that. We should be proud as Kenyans that we have a constitution that gives us these rights. I have visited some countries, and the moment you land there, you can see gloom, and what people are not engaged in this conversation even about their governance and leadership and their future. Thank you.
As in closing, I know you're but I've just seen the replying affidavit, and there's a question that arises from paragraph 3. The nominee, Mr. Tekon, you say you have never been a member of a political party. Is that what you are telling this committee? And as you are closing, I still asked your Luo and Spanish connections.
I will deal with the Luo and Spanish connection, number one. Number two is, yes, he says he's not been a member of a political party. Is it true? But we've never belonged to a
Honorable
political party.
Chair, for the record, I've not been any member, a member of any political parties, and I have a clearance certificate to that effect.
That one is talking about as we speak today.
Yes.
But in when you joined Honorable Nanok, were you not a member of his party?
That time, I remember when I joined Honorable Nanok, I was never in the political
So you've never registered with any political party in the country ever since?
Not that I know, but I know I have never taken that conscious step to register. But I hear
maybe you are registered differently. In this country, we know we belong to different parties which you didn't register yourself. Okay. Are elections rigged in the country?
The chair also, as he does that, on the lessons learned and what he brings on board. That's what I had asked him also.
I think, Honorable Chair, the elections in Kenya, I think over time there's been a lot of improvement in the way we manage our elections. Let's give credit where it's due. But we cannot also deny the fact that there have been challenges here and there, including some incidences where there have been electoral malpractices, including rigging of elections in some stations. But having said that, I still trust that our electoral system and laws that allow us from the polling station to protect our votes, that allow us to transmit our votes safely, I think they will work. And it's my role to enforce as the new chair. It's my role to work with the various stakeholders to ensure that we do the right thing within the commission, but also working with other stakeholders, including the investigative agencies, to address some of those complaints.
Honorable Makali is asking, what are you bringing to the table? Different from Honorable Chebukati and Kivuito, Chesoni, all the way to Montgomery.
I think I bring to the table my passion and commitment to this country to consolidate and entrench the democracy that we need for stability, for economic development, and for prosperity of this country. And I have all the necessary tools, whether in law, in conflict resolution, in managing election as a project. I bring those multiple tools and skills to the table. I also bring my experience and networks having worked with the international community, civil society. These are people I can work with together to support us to succeed as a country.
Right, thank you very much. Now, these are very routine questions which you have to answer yes or no quickly. Number one, have you been convicted of any offense in the Republic of Kenya or even out there? Loudly enough for me to hear. No. Number two, have you been named or aspersions cast on you regarding Chapter 6 of the Constitution, that is your ethics on matters governance?
No.
State, in what areas do you have potential conflict of interest if you are selected to be the chairperson of the IEBC? Where do you think there will be a conflict so that Kenyans know where to watch as you continue to deliver these services?
Honorable Chair, at the moment, none, no. But if they arise, I will invoke the provisions of Chapter 6, Article 75, and I shall declare immediately those incidences.
Right. Have you been able to do any pro bono services, to give pro bono services in the country? And if yes, which particular counties? And what did you do there?
Honorable Chair, at Stareboy Center, that's where we were taught voluntary service, and I worked in our local health center back home, and I also volunteered as a teacher before I joined the university for a whole year. And throughout my career, I have done other voluntary services within my community and in building churches, the African inland churches.
Thank you very much. And finally now, as we stop there, what is your net worth? How do we value you so that we are able to monitor you? Because you know very well IBC may be a very lucrative place to do illegal business in the breach of the law and to abuse that office. What is your net worth?
Honorable Chair and members, my net worth is estimated at 276,882,237.
Made up of what?
Made up of mainly assets, land, livestock, some Safaricom shares, and motor vehicles.
And motor vehicles.
Yeah.
What are your current sources of income?
Currently, my sources of income are from my earnings from the African Union Development Agency.
Okay. All right. Do you anticipate any other sources of income in the future?
And maybe in the next few months, the county government of Turkana still owes me my gratuity.
Do you expecting gratuity from the county government of Turkana?
Yes, yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Erastus Edun Efekon.
The livestock, do you anticipate?
Yes.
Before we go to the law, I don't know why.
I will get. He wants to understand that, and I will.
We have Somalis were speaking the law. The chair, please protect me from Daudan. From your livestock. I mean, I'm a livestock owner, and they give birth. I sell them. I take them to the market. So you would definitely be getting some income out of that, and it's important that you declare it so somebody does not say tomorrow that you got this money from Iebc.
Is it not obvious?
At the moment, I've declared about 4.3
from livestock,
230 shots, then 12 camels, 36 cows. And Honorable Farah, because of my travels and all these pursuits, I have not been a very good pastoralist, so I need to improve on.
Yes, I think the numbers are mentioned.
Source of livelihood. And Honorable Chair, permit me to speak with my
this is what I have to say before you speak in the language which some of us will not understand. So because we trust the senior counsel, Honorable Tiende Amolo, and yourself, we have no reason to doubt that you, in a decent conversation, greetings and the exchange of pleasantries in the Luo language, so that he's convinced you can actually speak the Luo.
Chair, may he speak the Luo after my question that I don't insist that he answers.
Yes, yeah. which is the question that he may not answer.
He may choose or not choose to answer. Given the history of the leadership of the electoral body in this country, does the nominee in his heart of hearts not think that this time round we should have had a woman chair? Thank you.
Do you have an answer to that?
To be fair, that can...
Let him say it himself. Let him say himself whether he wants to comment on it or he...
As he's closing, Chairman,
it is a start.
Point of order, Chair. Point of order, Chair.
Peter...
Point of order, Chair. Yes, I think I will allow...
Could you confirm whether Peter, Purity and Kizito, who assisted him to apply, are South Africans or they are Kenyans?
Yeah, of course they're Kenyans.
These are Kenyans from...
Those who are Kenyans from
Mushada here in Banana and one from Mukambani.
Right, they are photocopying someplace.
Chair, my last one the same. Given, one thing is, there's no question, when there's a post-election violence and we have problems in this country, it is the common people who suffer. It is not the politicians who are responsible for the violence and for all these electoral problems. Now that your candidature and your chairmanship largely will also be as a result of those common people you sat down with and who noticed your potential. And if you are confirmed, you give an undertaking that you will protect Kenyans to the hilt. Because this is the first time that we're seeing.
Please undertake to that because it's very important. They are watching
the lives of Kenyans.
I shall undertake that, and Chair, with your permission, I want to assure the honorable members that if we remind ourselves of the oath, that if confirmed, I will definitely take. The oath reminds us of a lot of things.
Okay.
That we shall obey, we shall respect, and discharge the trust, and that I give my assurance. Thank you.
Okay. As regards the last one from Honorable Nyamira, Member of Parliament from West Mugrango.
Yes, given the history of this country where perpetually we've had the leaders of our electoral management bodies being men, I think for me there will be a time, and it must be soon, probably if confirmed, I should be perhaps the last male chair we give a break, so that then our able ladies also discharge this responsibility. And I have seen many very successful women run bigger institutions.
Absolutely. The rest of it is contained in the selection panel report, which we shall be looking at as regards how many names were taken, whether any ladies were in there. Now the law. Can you have an
Chair.
All right. What we do is because there is an objection from Honorable Karemba.
Yes.
Because you do not understand what you are going to be saying.
And again,
I invite.
That's not the question, Chair. Let's be clear. I did not and I do not seek the nominee to speak in law. What I want to understand is why he has listed the law as one of the languages he speaks, and Spanish. Those two. Just
has he put it Turkana?
Yes.
He's put Turkana, Swahili, English, then he also speaks the Luo, he speaks Spanish, I speak Kikuyu and I'm not a Kikuyu. I don't think he needs to explain that one. I'm not an Arab. So why do you speak the Luo?
Chair, can he add when he will start speaking Ekagusi?
Honorable Farah, order please. Why do you speak the Luo? Just briefly tell us how you came to.
It is a reflection, Honorable Chair, of my journey. At some point when I was very young, I lived with my mom in a place called Nyawita, somewhere in Kisumu. And my first primary school, I attended there, and that's the language that I picked as a child.
It was picked as your mother tongue. Somebody taught me Kikamba as my mother tongue, and I'm not a Kamba. Thank you so much. Thank you very much
for the chairperson of Kenyans. There is no big difference between Atharaka and
anyway, that's with a light touch so that we make it as lively as it can be. Erastus, thank you very much for appearing before us. We are through with the session. As we said, it's a session to confirm whether the process by which you were nominated was a process in accordance with the Constitution and the law. Number two, whether from your own expression you are suitable for this job. We cannot make that verdict now. These members will retire. They will evaluate everything that is before us, including what you've told us, and we'll make a report to Parliament. So for now, we discharge you so that we can hear the next nominee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Return to him his original documents. The rest of them can remain with us, the copies. Okay. Morning, nominee.
Morning to you, Chairman.
The presumption is that before us is Annie Ruto.
Yes.
Nominated Commissioner for IBC.
Sure.
Thank you. Welcome to Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
Thank you.
We are going to go through the vetting process. This is not an examination. It's purely to confirm that the process by which you were nominated was due. And number two, that you're suitable for this position. So these are the members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. We'll introduce ourselves to you. You introduce yourself afterwards. Then we shall give you 10 minutes. You tell us who you are. And then we'll ask you a few questions, just a few. I know we've interacted with you from your office, which you hold now, but that does not in any way hamper our ability to confirm your suitability for this particular office.
Sure.
So we will not be biased, and we shall not be discriminative against you. So with those remarks, I introduce myself, George Gitonga Murugara, Member of Parliament for Tharaka Constituency. I'm the Chairman, Justice and Legal Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Mutuse. MP Kibwezi West, Vice Chair.
Mogaka, I'm elected by the great people of West Mogrango constituency and a member of JLAC committee.
Molo, member for Ariada.
Mushangi Karemba, Member of Parliament for Runyenjes and a member.
John Makali, Member of Parliament for Kandui constituency, a member of this committee.
Wood, Wajir East.
My name is Michael Mushera, MP Orojorok, and I can disclose that nominee is my constituent, but of course I'm not conflicted.
Thank you.
Right, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Zulekha Harun, nominated member and a member of the Jailer Committee.
Yet.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Peter Chemweno. I'm Director at Departmental Committees, and on my left are members of staff who serve in the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, and they comprise committee clerks, legal counsel, research officers, and other administrative officers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That is sufficient for introduction. Ms. Ruto.
Yes, Chair.
We will administer an oath upon you. You tell us which is your religion or we affirm you. Number two, you will give us after signing the oath, you will give us your original certificates. We confirm whether what you've given us as copies does tally with what you have. Number three, you sit down and give you maximum 10 minutes. You take us through the journey of your life since birth up to today, when you hold that office in the register of political parties, and you can say anything about elections in Kenya. Thank you so much for that. Sergeant at Arms, can you please administer the oath? Now she can choose a book, the Holy Book, or affirm.
Chair, I'm a Christian. I use the Bible. I, Anne Ruto, do swear that the information I shall give before this committee on the matters under its consideration shall be truthful, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Thank you very much. Sign the oath the oath you've sworn to or you've sworn with. No idea what you do to an oath. Thank you very much. You may now give out your original certificates if they are near. If they are not near, then the original certificates, they've already been issued, given out. Thank you very much. Very good. And certificates are given out, so you don't have to worry. Now, in less than 10 minutes, tell us who you are. Walk us through the journey of your life up to today in less than 10 minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the opportunity to appear in this honorable committee. My name is Ann Jerry Denito. I was born and bred in Nyandarua County in a place called Oljororok, where the honorable member come from. And I went to school within Nyandarua County. And then after that, primary school, in a primary school called Weru Secondary. Then I went to Wajohi Girls. Then after that, I went to Moi University to take a degree in education. I did a bachelor's of education, specifically in literature and English. After that, I started my teaching career in Muranga. I taught for about 2 years. Then after that, I applied to join education administration.
As names of these places where you know, people are watching you.
Yeah.
And when you say you taught at Kahuya Girls or one of those great schools in Muranga, they feel extremely good. Tell us, in Muranga, where did you teach?
I taught in a high school called Mudhidi Secondary School in Marangwa constituency. After that, after teaching for 2 years, I applied for a job in the Ministry of Education to work now as in education administration. My reason for applying after those 2 years, I felt that I would do more contribution in leadership in education. And after the application, I was actually given a job as an inspector of schools. I started my inspection of schools journey from Jogo House, which I posted to Kiambu County, the Raja Kiambu County then. And in the process, I got promoted. I was posted to Kiambu West, which its headquarters was in Limuru. At Limuru, I worked as an area education officer, and then also as a district quality assurance and standard officer. Then within the district, within that particular year, I was also promoted again to become a district education officer, which I worked briefly in Limuru, and then I was later posted to Ukabani, Makueni, specifically in Boni constituency, and Bubuni was the center where I went to start a new district. After working as a district education officer, maybe to bring where I am today, when I was working in Limuru as a district education officer and quality assurance, that is when 2007 post-election violence happened,